Welcome back to the Nullified Take, where we've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge 38. That's right, we're back here with Chantel and Drew, also streaming live on Reality Realness with 3 S's. At some stage, Drew is also going to do a little bit of a cut down version for those that follow Angel Cake Entertainment channel. So you might also see us on his podcast later on in this week. But I'm very excited. I spoke to both Chantel and Drew on Friday evening about the Challenge All-Stars 3, and we said, listen, we need to get back on here. We love talking about the Challenge, and we love having you guys in the live talking to us about the Challenge. And there's a lot of news that has dropped for the Challenge 38. So this podcast, this recap or whatever we're doing here today, it's this discussion, I guess, is going to be about the Challenge 38. Drew, I'm going to come over to you. You're the man who's done probably the most preparation, I would say, about the Challenge 38 so far. How are you feeling, I guess, out of 10 overall about the Challenge 38? Are you excited it's coming back? How do you feel about the cast, the theme, and everything? Obviously, we're going to go into more detail, but are you positive, cautious, or negative about what's happening currently on the Challenge 38?
I'll be honest, you threw me for a loop not having that lead up coming in because I was fixing something on my spreadsheet. I didn't get my chapstick on yet, so I had to get myself ready when you said we're going. But I don't know. I think this is very intriguing. I think the theme is interesting. I don't know how well it will play. I think it's a natural progression of what was like last season with the friendship card being thrown around. Like it was just all over the place. Like it was coupons for Arby's kind of thing. But I think it could be a lot of fun. I think this cast is a mixed bag. I think there's some people that I'm excited to see come back, and some duos I think are random as all get out, but we'll get into all of that.
Chantel, do you believe, like Jelly Donuts, that this season is going to be a complete mess, or how do you feel about the season so far from what you've seen online? I feel like I'm maybe more optimistic. I'm always coming into these podcasts the most optimistic, and then my soul gets crushed as the season goes on and things happen.
Well, I don't know how to feel about it because like I've been, the last few seasons of the main challenge, I've just kind of been like, not so sure how I feel about some of the casting staples that are now in the series. And so I know that a couple of them aren't going to be returning. So I'm like, I wonder if that's going to shake things up. But then I'm not sure with the people that's going to be their partners, if they're going to be a great addition, but like, then they're still going to be part of like a big alliance. So I'm going to be with you, Chris. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that it's going to be a great season because some of the players that I was expecting to come back aren't coming back. And so hopefully that might change up the dynamic. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Well, there's another person here in the live that is very excited about this. I believe Sam says, I know Sam, Ashley Millionaire Mitchell will not be happy to hear this, but you've got some crushes coming into this season. Obviously, my biggest crush for the season would be Amber coming back. So any season that Amber is back on our screens, I'm going to be very happy about that. Chantel, you kind of alluded to the fact that, there's some big omissions here potentially in this season that makes you excited. Obviously, we heard the news just before going live on Friday that Josh was dropped from the season. And I'm obviously thinking that's who you're talking about. I'm excited about the fact that we don't have to see all three of the Big Brother players on the same season again. Outside of like, what's your thoughts on Josh being dropped and what that will do for the season? And also, who else do you think is a big omission for this season?
Well, so Josh being dropped definitely is the most recent one that I was like, yes, like that's definitely going to change the dynamic and the style of gameplay and like what's going to happen on the season, the fights that are going to happen. It's just they might be a little bit different than they have been in the last few seasons. So I'm happy about that. And I don't know if it's going to be better or not, but it looks as though that Nani is going to have a different partner and a partner who I think that she could actually win with. And the last time she was with this partner, she was pretty close to winning the season. So I would love to see a complete, like a season where Nani actually wins. Like that would be, for me, it would just be a kind of full circle for Nani. I think that she's had ups and downs. She had some opportunities to win. Now she's in a relationship with Casey, and she kind of let Casey win the game last season a little bit. Like, yes, I know that she wouldn't have beat her in that little competition, but you guys get what I'm saying. So I like the fact that that's going to be a different dynamic with Josh not being her partner anymore and her not being on and him not being on the season. The other one, not that I love them, but Emmy and Emmanuel are not going to be on the season anymore. I was surprised that she was part of the more recent cast speculations, or even made it so far as getting to the airport, because we'd already heard a long time ago about the fact that she had said the N-word when she in her performance on the X Factor, and it was already a big like hullabaloo. So I was surprised that she got past casting again and to the airport, but they took her and Emmanuel out. I wouldn't have minded to seeing if there's any drama with Emmanuel, Michelle, and I believe Tori's still on this season. Is she, or is she not?
Yes, I believe so.
So that could have been an interesting dynamic, because I don't know what the status is right now between Tori and Emmanuel. So I wouldn't mind seeing, if there's anything that kind of came out of that trio. And that's about it, as off the top of my head, as to some dynamics that I was expecting to see that won't be happening. But hopefully it's for the better.
Drew, same question for you. Obviously, I'm assuming you're happy. You're not too upset about not seeing Josh, but thoughts on Josh being dropped, thoughts on what this does to the season, and also just who are you shocked not to see? There were rumors that we were going to see Wes this season in the early days. Are you surprised that he didn't end up on the show?
I mean, I'll be honest. The way casting has screwed with our minds by casting Josh over and over and over again, I was more convincing myself that we hadn't heard his partner yet than thinking he couldn't be on the cast. Like, I just felt like he's always going to be on the cast. He was the first one to get his physical, I think, and he was the first one to head out to Argentina. I felt like he was the first one to be confirmed to be on this season. So I was like, well, it's a foregone conclusion. They just haven't said his partner. I'm surprised that we haven't heard about his partner. And then lo and behold, he gets dropped, and I do multiple celebration dances by that. But I think what came down to it is who production feels like they need for this season to have more viewers and to have that the compelling for the audience to watch every single week. Because when we think about Josh, the two people that I think come into my mind when I think of Ride or Die are Casey and Nani. And I think that's what production was kind of going towards. But I think Casey really stood by and was like, I really want my brother to be my partner. So production wasn't going to push that away from her. And then without CT, and now we know that there is no Wes, it's kind of like Bananas is the big vet name that is coming back onto the show. And he doesn't really have anybody on the season besides Nani to be his ride or die best friend. So if it became a push or shove between do we need Bananas on the show or Josh on the show, it's just a no-brainer to production that we need CT, and we can do without Josh for at least one season. Maybe this will be a continuing trend, and maybe we get a few more seasons away from Josh. But yeah, I think that was their thought process. And I do think that it is shocking that Wes, who seemed to be really trolling everyone, including all the T accounts, really putting it out there I could be going off to Argentina, see you in a couple hours, I think he said on Nani's Instagram post. And then all of a sudden it came out that he wasn't going. And then he put out on his Twitter King Troll. So it's interesting that didn't happen. I think everybody wanted to see what Wes and Bananas relationship would have been, or what their friendship would look like coming on to do a show like this. So missed opportunity there, but Wes is over in All Stars, and Bananas gets to play in Challenge 38. And I think this is a big reason why Bananas wasn't on All Stars. I think he was originally supposed to be on All Stars, and then with this looming 38, CT maybe wasn't picking up the phone for MTV for a while, and they were like, well, you can either play on All Stars or you can get probably double the money and play for Challenge 38. And he was like, I'll go get my plane ticket now, make it first class, and I'll go train for 38, and I'll see you there.
Yeah, well, it is the return of the king in a lot of ways. The guy has won more challenges than anybody else out there. I think It is pretty much between him and CT for greatest of all time. Different people will say different things depending on who they like more between the two of them. But I think that Johnny Bananas would have looked at this and thought, what sort of scenario can I step back into the ring and set myself up best to do really well this season coming back, because he's got a reputation to uphold. Not that, he had a couple of seasons where things didn't go his way, but I really feel like he wouldn't want to waste this time coming out unless he thought he had a legitimate shot. And being partnered, obviously, with Nani, that's what we're assuming is going to happen this season, that they're going to be partnered with their ride or die. If that is the case and he is connected to her, that's going to set him up extremely well, because we've seen Josh being taken out of this cast, but I'm optimistic about the season as a whole, but where I am pessimistic is about the alliance that is going to run this game, because you still have the same people that ran last season. They're all still in this game. You've got Tori, you've got Devin, you've got Casey, you've got Fessy. There's going to be a big contingent of that group, I think, pairing up together to try and dominate this season to a certain degree. But for someone like Johnny Bananas, he doesn't care so much about what we want to see in regards to a shake-up in the power structure. He just wants to go back and win money. And if I look at him, he chose the perfect season, in my opinion, to come back and try and win another title. So, we haven't done our preseason casting yet, but I'm sure Johnny Bananas is going to feature somewhere high for a lot of us when we start looking at this, because I feel like he's set up well. If he gets to a final, he's got a very, very good shot at winning it. The guy is very successful, and we don't know what they're going to do in the final just because they're pairs throughout the season. The challenge is loose with their themes. They could break them up in the final, and Johnny Bananas may not even be anchored by Nani into that final. He might run that as an individual. Chantel, what do you think of Johnny Bananas finally deciding to, put the boots back on, lace them back up, and getting himself back into the ring here? Are you excited about this? Because I feel like if we didn't have Bananas, Wes, or CT, we would have, from an entertainment value, we would have missed something this season.
Yeah, no, they need to have one of those three on the show, or many old school players. If it's not going to have one of those and then some newer school players, they have to have multiple of them. So I agree with you. And I didn't really think about it, because a lot of people were coming for Johnny, he's not coming on All Stars because there's not a lot of rookies or minions that he could have to manipulate. But I think that's a really great point, that they're probably hey, which one do you want? Do you want to do this, or do you want to do this? And I think that it's a better financial deal to go and do however long they go away, of 2 months or whatever. So he's going to get that weekly pay. He probably gets an appearance fee, and then he has a chance to make probably another $500,000, and he's going to get probably his pick a partner, and he has a built-in alliance with that picked partner. I definitely think it's a no-brainer that he's going to choose season 38, where he doesn't actually have to play that hard. I think he'd have a much harder chance of winning All Stars, just because there's a lot of heavy hitters on there, and people wouldn't be afraid of taking a shot at him. So I think that he definitely made a financial decision, and I'm happy that he's going to be there. If I have to choose between him or Josh, I'm choosing Johnny Bananas to come back in the season. I know a lot of people don't particularly like him, but I don't know, other than CT and Wes, who could carry the season, who could be on this season other than those three. So I'm happy that he's here, because I don't think that it will be an enjoyable season if none of those three people were on the show.
Yeah, 100%. Sam here is asking us to talk about Laurel next. And obviously,
Okay.
Laurel is someone as well who have not been on this show for a while now, and is seen as one of the greatest female competitors that we've ever seen on the show. Drew, I'm going to come over to you first here. What do you think of Laurel stepping back into the game right now? Where does she sit within this house? Does she have connections, and does her status as a legitimate veteran of this game, does that help her here in the early days as she comes in? And also her partner, I guess, coming into this game. Do you know much about Laurel's partner, if they are going to be in? Because I don't even know if it's confirmed yet that they're definitely going to be partnered up or not, but I'm assuming that is what's going to happen.
Yeah, so Laurel is coming back after the last time we saw her, which was the Challenge 34 War of the Worlds 2. And she was definitely in the side of the house that was against Kara. So she was with the Johnny Banana, she was with the Jordan, she was with the Nani, the Leroys, and even Josh. I mean, I'm sure she would like to have seen Josh on this show because they were best friends. They helped throw Wes into the elimination against Bear and get him out. So I think Laurel is coming in a good position. One, she is a vet. Two, she has those bonds. The last time she played, like I mentioned, was with Bananas and Nani. And we were talking about Nani kind of being the nucleus of this whole cast. So she has connections with pretty much every single player in this game, if it's not a rookie team that we know of. And Laurel's also a huge physical threat. I mean, her reputation precedes her. She has a resume. I mean, if we wanted to see a brawler of an elimination, it would be Laurel versus Casey. Now, somebody can take out Casey, and it's not going to be this easy type of situation where she's going to go up against Teresa, and Casey's just younger, faster, and stronger than Teresa. Now we have Laurel, who I feel could outmuscle Casey any day of the week. So her partner is Jack Maddox. That is confirmed, in my opinion. He was on the X on the Beach Peak of Love, which was like a spin-off of X on the Beach. They were trying to make it like snowy instead of on a beach theme. And Laurel was more of a cameo on that show to freak out Nicole Z. She never really stayed in the chalet, but Jack did. Jack has been working out, putting in the work, and they seem to have kicked off and had a great friendship, and now they're bringing that friendship into the game. I don't know what Jack can do because, again, X on the Beach isn't that competitive or that like physical of a show, but what I've seen on his Instagram is quite impressive. He is definitely putting the work in the gym, and with a partner like Laurel, you never count them out, in my opinion. Like, you can never count them out. I mean, she had Cara Maria in 21. She got to second place. She had Kenny in Fresh Me Too. They got second place. I mean, you give her a season, and most likely Laurel is going to go far into that season, no matter who her partner is.
Yeah. Chantel, I know you're a big fan of Laurel's as well. We had, I believe, Amber in the chat here asking if Laurel's ever been on a season that Cara Maria has not been on, and how will that affect Laurel being on this season? I think there was one season with Cara Maria. I can't remember. Like I always say, between Fresh Meats 2. Yes, because she got eliminated early. But wasn't there one season where Cara Maria was an alternate and she came in late for an injured person, and Laurel was on that season from the start? I feel like there was one, but I could be
the season where
wrong.
she got with Jordan and CT-ish? Is that season?
Probably, but yeah, like their storylines have been intertwined quite a lot throughout the show's history. I think that for me personally, I'm not an OG fan necessarily. I'm kind of a little bit over the whole beef between them. Like, I'm okay to see Laurel personally come in the season without her and have a different storyline develop around Laurel. So I'm not too upset about the fact that that's not the case here. But Chantel, what do you think of Laurel coming back? Are you excited about this? Is this up there for you with the bananas?
Actually hilarious though that you don't care for like the storyline of Laurel and Cara Maria, but like it's Cara Maria that's the problem with the storyline. It's always about like Cara Maria.
I disagree with you on that one, by the way. I feel like Laurel was a bully to Cara Maria for most of that time. Remember, me and you've got very different views on that, but I'm over the storyline between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about the storyline for sure, but
yeah,
I definitely, I think that Laurel at one point was kind of a friend to Cara Maria, and they did kind of fix the relationship and fix things, but they just didn't end up working out in the end. I am happy to see Laurel. I want to see that old school energy. That's why I like All Stars. I keep on saying it over and over again. I want people that have been on the show from a long time back, and so if she's not going to be on All Stars, yes, I'm happy to see her on the main season because I think some of the new school players need to be around some of these old school players just to like get that energy, get that vibe. Maybe it's going to, revitalize the season and make it into what I used to love about it beforehand. So I'm happy to see her come back. I'm happy to see her without Cara Maria. I'm happy to see her have a new friendship that we're going to see develop on 38. And so, yeah, like you're not a biggest fan of her, but I'm happy to see her back. And I'd rather see her back more than a lot of people that get the phone call.
I do respect. I just want to make sure you understand this. I do respect Laurel. I just think between the two of them, I've always had Kara's back more than Laurel's. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to be. If you're one person, you completely write the other one off. I'm excited to still see her come back and to see specifically because in the era that Laurel was on the show, she was physically probably the most dominant. But a lot of the females in the game now are bigger athletes, so I want to actually see how she does against some of the newer school competitors that are on the show. Can she stack up? We saw her go out against Ninja in that elimination
In an
that she last
error,
did.
though.
Yeah, but it's still like she tried to create a hole where there wasn't a hole. It's pretty straightforward, on that specific elimination. And again, like I said, I want to see, is that a fluke? Can she come back? Can she redeem herself? I think that she's going to come back hungry to redeem herself in any case because of that.
She's not going to come back to be terrible. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So she definitely has a big ego, and she does like to, like, when she lost that one, she was really, I think it was Vicky talking about seeing her face when she was taunting Ninja, and going at taunting Ninja and then being DQ'd is pretty bad. And so I don't think that she would come back to want to look bad again. So I'm expecting her to make it to the final. I definitely.
Yeah,
No,
Adrian, I think.
Oh, what?
No, the comment. She wasn't on Gauntlet.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember there being some early stages of that. But anyways, we don't want to make this whole podcast another debate about Laurel and Cara
I
Maria.
do want to say that I'm excited to see Laurel's notebook come back. That's what I'm very excited to see. She's going to make lists. She's checking it twice. She's going to move up her own power rankings in the game, and I'm ready for it.
I want to talk about someone I'm actually really excited to see come back here, Drew. And I know you're going to be excited to see this man come back.
Paulie's not coming back.
No. But I mean, this is Paulie's ride or die, but Paulie's not on the season. It's going to be Turbo making another appearance here on the challenge. I mean, there was a lot of speculation, I think, after he got removed that season that he wanted to assault Jordan and the security couldn't hold him back. And they're like, no, listen, we can't control this situation. We're going to have to remove him from the game. And people thought he was banned, Drew, after that, and that he would never be back on the show. Are you surprised that he has come back here this season? And how do you feel about seeing the return of one of the most dominant rookies we ever saw on the show, in my opinion, because it was no fluke and it wasn't an easy final that he won in War of the Worlds 1 when he participated in that season?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Turbo back. I think I'm more shocked that he's not paired up with Nany. And that he's paired up with somebody completely different than who I thought he was going to be paired up with. Because Nany and him, throughout their both seasons that they played together, just seemed like they were super connected. Then somebody told me that they both stopped following each other on Instagram. So maybe they aren't as ride or die as they are nowadays. But I'm so happy to see Turbo back. He was dominant. He's physical. He was good at puzzles. I'm ready to see him. The only thing that worries me about Turbo is his partner and if they can work together to get farther into the game, because as we know from years of watching paired seasons, it all comes down to who you're partnered up with and how you work with each other. Because so many times people have said that I didn't win this season or go far this season because of my partner. And his partner is going to be his girlfriend, Tamara. When you look her up, so many people are saying that she cheated on her boyfriend to get on the show and to be with Turbo, which is very spicy. Also, we heard, if anybody has heard, they had to go into a second quarantine because of positive COVID tests, and it's alleged that she had a phony vaccination card that she brought in. And so that's all I've heard. That could be alleged, but that's what I've heard from her about her. But that's all I know about her. And I think she's some type of model or something like that. So, I mean, she's gorgeous, but can she keep up with the pace of the game and be a very strong partner for Turbo? I think Turbo is the best of two people. He could be a two people by himself, but it all comes down to your partner. And we saw like in eliminations, like Devon and Bear versus Leroy and Shailene, you can be strong on your own, but then you have to have that other person like helping you, dragging that that sleigh with sandbags all the way back to their side and vice versa. So we'll see. But I have all the faith in the world that Turbo can get all the way to the end and win again if need be.
I'm leaving the important question here for you, Chantal. Will anybody copy his walk this season?
Probably. No, actually nobody will. Nobody will at all. I'm pretty excited to see Turbo. I think I like that somebody that is going to be a competitor that's like not necessarily with the alliance. Like, yes, he'll get some intel from Nani. I'm assuming, I don't know if they're friends again or not friends or what, but like he does have that connection with people that he's played before. And so I'm happy to see what he's going to do again. His first season, he kind of lucked out a little bit in the fact that he was able to just be physically dominant and get through the season. And so I want to see if he has a little bit of strategy in him. I want to see how well he works with his partner. I want to see if his partner is really good. I know you're saying that he's the strength of two men or two people for sure, but I want to see if he could do. And again, we didn't get the chance to see that his second season because he was taken off because he was being a little bit verbally aggressive. So I want to see if he can make it to round 2. I don't really see anybody on this cast being able to take him out in an elimination. And so, but I wonder if people are going to try. So,
He might have that intimidation. He might have that intimidation factor about him like a CT has. But the only thing here is I'm excited to actually see Turbo in an elimination because in those seasons that he played, he never actually went into an elimination. But we always saw him be very verbal from the sidelines, giving advice. Oh, try this strategy, or no, that strategy doesn't work. You should be doing this. And I think that with Turbo, what a lot of people forget, Survivor in Turkey is a completely different show compared to Survivor in the US or any of the English versions. It's all based on your physical ability to win challenges. So it's probably a lot closer to the challenge than what we will even appreciate as Survivor fans in the US. But I think the key thing here is he won 2 Survivor seasons. He was on his way to win a 3rd one when he got injured. So it's the only reason, apparently, he was dominating that season as well. He came from that straight into the challenge. He won his first season. And then again, he was his own worst enemy and got eliminated in the 5th reality show that he played in. So, I mean, yes, he doesn't have 5 titles or 4 titles, but he clearly has the credentials to be able to win a lot of these shows. So I do think that he could do well. Mentally, though, I hope he's coming in prepared. And now that he's spent more time with people that I won't mention here because I know Chantal and Drew are not big fans of them, but he spent a lot of time in the US, right? And visiting people. So hopefully he's gotten used to the culture a little bit more because when he first came onto the show, it was only his 2nd season. I think that he really, what Jordan did to him in that season, he took it like very, very personal because of the cultural differences that you have between himself and also the US, more Western culture and how we joke around. I think he took it like life or death. You're threatening me type of thing. And I hope that he's more prepared and he's mentally stronger than what he was that season. Because if anybody copies his walk and he goes off, we'll see him get kicked off again, and I don't want to see that personally myself. So I'm very excited to see Turbo here back on this next season as well. I think it's going to be very exciting. I do want to talk about the 2 Survivor players as well that are coming back this season. Obviously, a big Survivor fan myself. I'm assuming they're going to be partners. Chantal, would you agree that most likely we'll see Jay and Michelle as ride or dies? There's been rumors in the past that Jay and Michelle have actually dated or that they had something going on outside as well. So they might be a little bit more than your normal ride or die. And it looks like I'm giving you some tea that you weren't aware of. But yeah, apparently there was some stuff going on behind the scenes. But that's
when I need more details.
So this was prior. This was prior to her and Wendell. So just to give you a timeline, this was way back.
Well, I guess the only people that I've heard is maybe she was with Dean for a little bit. So maybe like that could have happened and I didn't know about it, but I would think that I would have heard about it. I've always wanted to see them on the same season just because I do feel like the Survivor players just need a few more people on at the same time so that they can maybe do something to shake the game up. So that's why I kind of wish that they weren't together as partners because then they can kind of spread out their numbers a little bit. But I am definitely happy that they're going to be at least working together and both being on the season because I do like them both. I was worried that Jay wouldn't come back on the season because a few years ago, he said the N-word in a song, recounting a song. So worried that he wasn't going to come back, but if he is coming back, I'm happy to see him come back. I like the fight in him. I like that he enjoys playing the game. I like that he has a lightness to his gameplay. He's still strategic. He still tries hard. He's still good at certain things. So I think that they could be a really good duo, depending on how they kind of integrate with the other alliances and people on the season. But I'm happy to see her. And if they have dated, I need to know this tea. I hope they talk about it.
Yeah, well, they're very good friends still. They're still very good friends. They're on good terms. So clearly, whatever, I don't know if it was officially dating or they were just kicking it, but there was something there that happened apparently. I also see here in the chat that Natalie is saying that Jay is dating Annelise. That's news to me. I did not know that whatsoever. But Drew, going over to you, what do you think of both Michelle and Jay, I guess, coming back this season, and also them being able to pair up here in this season? Do you like this pair of, I guess, Michelle and Jay coming into the season?
I like to see Michelle and Jay back onto the challenge, as I want to see more Survivor players make it onto the show. I, though, think that they are going to be on the wrong side of the numbers as per usual. One, they're Survivor players. Two, they're paired up together. And when we take a look at who Jay is connected with, I mean, if it's not Jay and Michelle, I feel like it would be Jay and Annelise, because Annelise and him have been training together for a long time now. If you go to their Instagrams, they've been rock climbing together, doing the Spartan races together. Like, they've been spending a ton of time with each other. However, there's another person on here that is 100% with Annelise, who could not be paired up with anybody else on this cast. So for me, it's going to definitely be Jay and Michelle partnered up together. And when you take a look at who Jay has been hanging out with, he's been hanging out with Nelson. But when I look at Nelson and who he could be connected to, it doesn't look that good. I mean, he's connected to Fessy, but we've seen Fessy turn on his friends with a drop of a hat if it means it could get him farther into the game. So I don't think they're going to be as well connected, especially Michelle being the only other rookie from last season going to be on this show. So I worry for them. I think that they can be a very strong team. I think they will be strong strategically and in missions or challenges. I'm sorry, the last season still is in my brain calling them missions. Ugh. But I worry for them. I worry for them size wise. I worry for them numbers wise, and I hope that they can make it far. But when we take a look at who's in the numbers and who's at the core, and that's Nani and Bananas. Probably Bananas isn't a huge fan of Jay. He's not a huge fan of Nelson, since Nelson and Bananas have been kind of like bashing heads for the last like however long that they've been on the shows together. So I think that they're going to have a uphill battle, but there's no doubt in my mind that they could win eliminations against certain teams on this cast, and that they could be a dark horse, and they could be able to jump to that next level and make it hopefully halfway to deeper into the game.
Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. If Jay makes a final, I think he surprises us. Like, I really think that he has got the endurance. He's a good runner. I'll never forget that specific mini final that they had in the season that he was with Teresa. And they kind of won that by the running section and doing the puzzles. And I think that Michelle is going to be great at puzzles. So she does balance him out somewhat as well. So they could be a very powerful duo. But like you said, at the end of the day, it starts with good social connections, playing a social game before you even get to the position where you can run a final. And will they get there? I'm a little bit down on that, sadly. As a Survivor fan, I want to see Survivor players do well. I'm really happy Michelle comes back. Like, I mean, who would forget her famous quote where she said, "I've got 2 of these for you," and she just pulled them up, like, I think Michelle will add a certain level of spice to the confessionals. I think she will become a staple of the show if she continues to come back. And both of them are probably in the midst of building a little bit, I guess, their own presence within the challenge, and getting people to want to shout for them because they're familiar to them and they've come back season after season. And they're going to be the anti-Big Brother faction in this season. So I think we're going to want to shout for them regardless, just because they're not a part of that core. I do want to talk about someone that I was surprised to see this season come in. And we don't have to spend too much time on this, but I was thinking to myself, this person, in my opinion, I'm not overly excited. I know some of the females who watch the show would be very excited that he's back just because of the muscles and the great chiseled six-pack and everything. But I feel like he's had 2 seasons and it hasn't really paid off all that much for him. and that's going to be Nam. What do you guys think about Nam coming back here this season?
I think he already got cut. Didn't he get dropped?
Did he
Didn't he
get cut?
just get dropped again? Somebody even mentioned it in the chat. I thought I heard that his partner, something happened to his partner, and then he got cut. Drew,
Okay, well,
you always know the secret.
So I didn't think we were gonna get into that, but apparently he was gonna be partnered up with Emmy, who has done a ton of reality shows, like a ton, dating back to when she was 19 years old. And I think she's 22, 23 now. And she's just been constantly doing reality shows in Germany and in other countries, like Secret Story in Spain, the Spain's Big Brother-esque type of show. On that show, they said, a lot of people who had watched that show said that Emmy came in like a firecracker for the first week, then found out that the game wasn't going to go her way. She had really no shot of winning because nobody liked her, and she was ready to quit before she was evicted, 5th out of the house. And so coming into this season, I was worried because, one, I don't think they actually met each other before. So they were just partnered up because they have like the same like management group that represents them and their country as well. And so a lot of people are like, I'm hoping that she'll actually like step it up and not try to quit. And it sounds like she quit. So I think the game started. They went into quarantine. They came out. I think they did like a mission, and she was just like, I'm not into this. And so she pulled out, and because they sent all the alternates home and really it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, they decided to just send him home. So bad luck.
Nam is not meant for the challenge,
completely.
it seems. Like,
I don't think so.
Really has had bad luck, and I think you'd have to maybe take it as maybe this isn't the path for you, because he's just had a lot of things that have been out of his control fully to be taking him out of the game. Firstly, to injury, nextly with COVID, and now with a partner that allows him to be DQ'd. So it's really unfortunate, because I do want to see his chiseled body, guys. Don't worry in the chat. We can still talk about Nam, how cute he is, and how we'd love to see him have a little showmance with somebody other than Lolo Jones. But it's not going to happen. And at this point, I don't know if I need to see him try to get on the next season. So this might be our farewell to Nam, but he's very handsome.
What? This would have been the season for Nam to participate in, because there were 4 people from Germany on this cast. So, he would have actually had some fellow countrymen and women out there. So I feel like if there was ever a season for him to do okay being the veteran, and I put that in air quotations because he's not much of a veteran, I've got no problems with Nam. It's just bland personality. We've got enough bland personalities for me at the moment on the show. I don't need another one to be added. I'm going to talk about probably the blandest of bland personalities next, but this person is a reigning champion. We've got Casey coming back this season as well. What do you guys think about Casey and her chances to go back to back? And do you like the fact that she's going to be playing with her brother? Sometimes when you've got family out there doing a show, like, for instance, The Amazing Race is notorious for it. You go with family members, you fight with them. There's sibling rivalries. Battle of the Bloodlines was a great season. I enjoyed seeing family members on the challenge as well. And that brings a little bit of extra spice out of people when your blood is out there playing this game as well. Do you think that this will bring a little bit more entertainment out of Casey, and we will get a different side to her? And also, now that she's finally won a season, does this allow for her to play a little bit more loose because she's got one in the bag? Chantal, what do you think about Casey here?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Casey just because I find her to be boring, but I am wondering, with having her brother with her, if we're going to see more personality, we're going to see more of who she's comfortable with and what she's like when she's comfortable. She's going to want to protect her brother. I don't know if he's older or younger, but regardless, she's going to want to make sure that he does okay, make sure that people are treating him well, make sure that he has a good experience on the show. And so hopefully, with having someone there that is unfamiliar with that type of world, I think it will bring something out in her that would at least be entertaining. At least she will be doing something a little bit actively. And if that means that she's going to end up getting to the end, I don't think she's going to get to the end and win again, but I'm going to enjoy her journey a little bit more with her brother being there than it just being Fessy and Josh and Nani just running the show. I think I'm more interested in seeing her and her dynamic with her brother. So I'm okay with this.
Drew.
You want to see how she does in the house when she's comfortable. You don't get as comfortable as last season when she did absolutely nothing. She didn't have to worry about going to a single elimination, and she made it all the way to the end. So yeah, she's gonna be real comfortable kicking her feet up and not doing anything. I mean, I'm not excited. I don't think she's gonna play loose. I don't think she knows how to play loose. I think the most we're gonna see of her is talking to her brother, but that's it. Like, we got the whole thing of her and Nani's relationship blossoming last season. We're probably not gonna get that this season, and we're gonna get this family dynamic. But who knows how much we're gonna see of that, because if the apple falls close to the tree with Casey, they're going to be two of the same people and kind of just chilling out, not doing anything. We're not going to see them until we have to hear somebody narrate what's happening when we come back from a commercial break. So in this challenge, we had to get a ball from this angle to this angle, and we have to see who's going to make it out first. Get out of here.
Okay, but what if some jealousy stirs up with Nani being paired up with Bananas? Because if you remember when one season when she was kind of flirting with, I think it was Chase from The Bachelorette, and he was like, and she was like sitting on Bananas' lap, and he was like already treating her like she's his girlfriend, and he didn't really like seeing her flirting with Bananas, and she's like, he's my best friend, like, I love him. But they have dated, they have slept together. And I believe that Casey is Nani's first female like lesbian relationship. So I'm wondering if maybe that will come into play, maybe having some jealousy or some friction with Nani spending a lot of time with Bananas. So that could be interesting.
Emmy here asks, is she close to Annelise or Tommy? That dynamic will be interesting to see too. They played in different seasons of Big Brother, and Annelise and Tommy, from a very problematic season, actually. I was quite surprised to see two of them on the show. I quite enjoyed Tommy at times. He was entertaining to watch. I think he'll bring a little bit of excitement and entertaining to the TV show. And Annelise, to me, was just the pretty girl that was with, I think the guy's name was Jack that whole season, and she was kind of like his ride or die. But somehow Annelise and Tommy ended up on this season as ride or dies. But I don't think that Annelise and Tommy, like, I mean, they're a question mark for me, because it's kind of like Big Brother Strong. Do they automatically just pull them in and then just use them as rookies, as bait to do whatever they want for the season? It's two extra numbers who they won't care about in the long term. But I don't think Annelise and Tommy will be in the inner layer or the inner ring of that alliance that is now not just the Big Brother alliance anymore. It is a more of a vet alliance, because you've got other people like Tori and Devin and that who are also closer to that alliance. The real question mark for me, really, I'm not so interested in Tommy and Annelise, but we can definitely go back and talk about them, and I'll give you guys both an opportunity to talk about both of them. But the real question mark for me is where's Amber sitting coming into this season? Has she mend bridges with the likes of Casey? There was real bitterness and rivalry between her and Casey, even in the after show that season. And where do they currently sit? And does Amber, like, will she just do what she can for that safety? She'll run to that alliance and stick with them, or will she just be enemy number one? Because I feel like she does not fully fit in to the Big Brother Vet Alliance, and there are a lot of people who really don't care for Amber on Big Brother. There was a lot of calling her fake last season. Chantel, what do you think that dynamic will look like coming into this season? I know you're kind of 50-50 on Amber. I feel like you kind of lean towards not liking her so much last season, where myself and Drew, obviously, you balance us out because we were both pro Amber. But, where do you think she sits coming into this? And are you excited to at least to have one person in there that could potentially be against the likes of Casey and the rest of those people in the house?
So, yes, I agree with both with you that I'm more on the not a big fan of Amber. But I have to say that I'm excited to see what the dynamic will bring with her being there with her current boyfriend. I like the fact that she's going to have someone that she trusts completely, that looks like he's going to be super fit, that they might be a dynamic duo that can gain some power. I think that if they have some power, she might be able to figure out how she can go up against the Caseys of it all. I do not think that she's going to work with the Big Brother people that have burned her in the past. I think she's learned her lesson. And if Amber decides to pull in, the Michelle and Jay, and pull in maybe the other Big Brother people that are maybe not on the outsides, or like they're new to the game, and be like, no, we have to go against these people, blah, blah, blah. Like, if she builds the opposite faction, I would be an Amber stan. But if she goes in and plays that same card again, like, I trusted you and you stabbed me in the back, I just can't handle that narrative anymore. But I'm willing to, if she does make a big move and decides to go against that big group and decides to do something strategic and go against them and like make a mark, like, I can definitely get on board with Amber. But I'm just not a fan of that same storyline where she's just upset that she's been burned by Casey and Fessy and Josh. Like, let's do something.
I think it was fair. I agree with you. It was fair. For me, I could tolerate it last season because it was so fresh. It was literally the season before. So she had legitimate reasons to be pissed off, even though I think people, just like you were over it, a lot of people in the house were over her running around playing a victim in that situation. But I could understand, and I think both myself and Drew, and I don't want to speak too much for him, we could understand where she was coming from. But Drew, if she had to come in another season with that same attitude, and she doesn't really give us much in regards to trying to work on strategy or, standing up against the power within the house, are you in agreement with both myself and Chantel that would become old very quickly if we see just the same old Amber that we saw? Like, you want to see evolution in the players that go out there, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what makes the game fun and why we love to see players come back over and over and over again, to see the arc that they could have on their own story. If you have a challenger that continually does the same thing over and over again and keeps on missing the mark, I mean, what fun is that, realistically? I really hope what Chantel says happens with her, like, trying to gather up the rookie numbers, maybe pulling a Wes. I mean, she is bringing in a rookie teammate in, her boyfriend Chauncey, and they look to be a super strong pair. Like, if we're talking power couple, this is physically a power couple coming into the game. So I'm hoping that she comes in wanting to play her own game and focuses on that. My worry is that we've seen her twice, and it's like same song, old dance type of thing. I don't know how the thing goes. I'm making up my own because she had a rookie alliance. She had a rookie alliance on season 36, and then they quickly did not like her and wanted to get away from her, and then come into season 37 where it was a ton of rookies, and she didn't get along with much of anybody on that season. So it's going to be interesting to see if her social game can go further. And maybe she worked on that. Maybe she wants to align with other people. I have a sad feeling inside me that it could just be repeating, wash, rinse, repeat. And she comes into the game. She's like, it's us against the world. And she has that mentality. Everybody can feel that mentality on her and could be looked at and wanted to be taken out again. I just want to see more strategy from her. And I think it would do her a huge advantage to gather up the rookie numbers. I just don't know if she'll have that social game, or if Casey's just going to sink her teeth into all the social ties because everybody just loves Casey because she's just like, cool,
she's
chill.
great.
She doesn't do anything. So why not just chill out with her, kind of thing?
But one thing too, though, just before you say something,
I was just going to say to Chris, I'm not suggesting Jack.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, so Chris in the live stream here, I'm not suggesting Jack should be back on our screen. I apologize that I even mentioned Jack's name on this podcast. That's not what I try to say with my comment there.
No, what I was going to say, though, is one thing I'm hoping, though. So we didn't see like Amber have somebody that she could vent to that didn't find her already frustrating. Every time person that she was talking to about like what was going on and how she was feeling, they didn't want to hear it. So it will be nice that she has somebody that she can turn to if some things like that come up. That would be her boyfriend, who hopefully would be able to allow her to speak her piece and maybe be a voice of reason. Maybe he will be the person that's going to be able to mend her relationships with some of these people. Maybe he's going to be the bridge to these rookies. And so I'm hoping that her boyfriend is going to be the social help that Amber needs in her game, and also the outlet that she'll have or if she has any of the frictions coming in with her previous relationship. So I'm putting a lot of weight on her boyfriend, being like, can you make this girl have a good game? But if he can, I can get on the Amber train. So,
and he can carry any weight, by the way. He can carry any weight because
he can carry my weight because he's very good looking.
Yeah, no, he's big. Yeah, he's big. Patricia agrees with you, Chantal. If that were to happen and Amber were to go against Casey, Fessy, and that Big Brother alliance, she'd be a fan too. And I think that, if Amber did any research, and I don't think a lot of these players actually take note of fan perception as much as they probably should, or maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. It might influence the way that they play the game. But in Amber's case, it would be good for her to go, even if she was out third this season, but she made a massive run at this Big Brother alliance. I think her popularity would skyrocket so much that she would become a player that the fans would get behind, and they would like riot to say, we want Amber on every single season. She's got a backbone. She's willing to fight against the power structure. People will get behind her, even if she goes early. But I feel like these days, a lot of these new school players are so scared, and they play for placement because if they're there a week or two longer, I think I've heard rumors they get paid the longer they're on the show. So they just want to get deep to get a paycheck. They don't really care about making a good TV show. They don't care about becoming a new legend of the show. And I'm saying this as someone who's probably the biggest new school fan out of the three of us, because it still frustrates me. You want to have people on there that play to win the game. So I'm really fearful that won't happen. I also wanted to have a quick look here at Sandy's comment saying, I still cannot believe the production is casting Big Brother rookies for the MTV show when the CBS challenge exists. And I think that, in my opinion, it's probably a clear sign that they looked at the challenge CBS and they thought this may not be a thing next year or the year after. Like, we're going to continue to actually add people into the show, into the main show that we want to keep going. Or it's them just covering all of their bases with having these players come in. One of the ones that was very interesting for me before we got even onto the podcast is that Devon was rumored to also be in the running for this season. She was going to be paired up with Derek F from the last Big Brother season, and she pulled out, which meant that he got pulled out. And we've been hearing for the longest time that production wants him on the show. Mind blown, and I can completely understand why Devon didn't want to be on the show, because she would have been a sitting duck being, paired with that anchor in the game.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they would put those two together. And I heard a lot of rumors that people were getting asked who they could call people to be like, hey, do you want to be my partner on this season? And they could recommend people for this ride or die season. So I would assume that they would have called Devon, and Devon would be able to maybe choose a person that she'd want to work with. So do you think that, like you're saying, that she wouldn't have chosen Josh? So would you say that Josh got the phone call first and he was like, I want my partner to be Devon? Like, how did that go down? I feel like both of them could pick other people that would have been better ride or dies for her, or people that they would want as their number one
Derek,
pick.
you said Josh, but you mean Derek. I don't know who. It was Derek Fraser that
right.
She was rumored to be paired with, and she was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
I heard Josh is, maybe I'm making that up. You're right. Derek Fraser, 100%. But I don't think I would want to be Derek Fraser's partner. So why did Derek Fraser get the option to pick Devon?
Well, he's been rumored, I think, for a while now to be on the show. So it sounds like production wants him on the show. I don't know why. I've got no understanding as to why they want him on the show. Like Chris here says that they did a public service for all of us not coming onto the season. And I agree with that. I mean, it's sad not to, like, I know that you that have watched her recent show haven't been too big of a fan of Day, but in the challenge realm, I've really enjoyed Day, and I feel like she brings a lot of entertainment to the show. So I was interested in seeing her come back, and I'm happy that at least she was entertaining it, because that means that in the future it may still happen. Like we can always hope that next season or the season after that day is someone that gets asked again. I don't know if there's much more we wanted to talk about. Drew, if you had any thoughts on the whole day thing. I mean, obviously she didn't actually end up being on the show, but also just Big Brother players in general still being selected, I guess, for the main show.
So I heard from Gamer Vev's tweets that she pulled out for a different reason, not necessarily that it was because she was going to be paired up with Derek F. I know that once Day kind of said, I'm not going to do the season, everybody was like rushing out to like attack Derek F online because they all wanted to see Davon back on the challenge. And he even put out a tweet saying like, stop with the death threats. I wanted to be on the show. It didn't happen. And so everybody was going out there going like, Day had her reasons, her own personal reasons. It wasn't because she was going to be partnering up with Derek F. Now, this is another basis of why I feel like MTV really needs to like go through these themes and really lock in some tight pairings, because this was a pairing I heard that she was over at Derek F's house for like a rap party or a CBS party or something. And it happened one time. And then I guess that's enough to be considered ride or die. So I was going to be very excited to see Davon on the show. I just don't think that they were necessarily ride or die as some of these other pairings. But we've seen this in Rivals where it's like you have CT and Wes, CT and Adam King paired up together and they have legit beef. And then you have Bananas and Frank, who were never on a season together. They just had some spouts on Twitter. So we're going to get those types of pairings.
Yeah. Not much more to add from my end there. Let's talk about someone that personally I'm kind of not that excited to see them on the show anymore, but I feel like you guys might be still excited to see her on the show, and it's Aneesa coming back here for another season.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like Chantal, Aneesa, what does she still have left to give at this point?
Well, I don't know if she has anything super excited for you, Chris, but I think that Aneesa does know some of the same things that Wes knows and Bananas knows, and even to a certain extent, Nani knows about the fact that they're on a TV show. And I think that she might do that instead and be like, oh, wait, let me make good TV so that they want to bring me back, because I'm not necessarily going to be the person that's going to get to the end and win. So I'm putting it out there that Aneesa might be the gatherer of the rookies and create a big opposition or something, to do something a little bit different, because she's not going to have physicality on her side. So she's going to have to get numbers on her side. And I don't know if she'll be always expendable to the alliance. It's probably going to be the Big Brother and Bananas like alliance. So hopefully she'll know that and be like, you know what? I'm going to do something completely different than I usually do. Let me go against this power group, build my own other group. Maybe that would be pulling in Amber B, like, oh, look, you're on the outside, but she'd be super strong. Maybe she'd have some power. And maybe she's going to make a name for herself and being like the strategic opposition, and maybe just do something different, because she knows the game. She knows how to make good TV. She's been on the show for 20 years. Like, I think she might come with a new attitude and a new strategic direction. So that's my thoughts about Aneesa. But if she does it the same thing, like nobody thinks I can do well and nobody gives me a chance, like exactly. I can't have that at all. So it's kind of like, Amber, this is an audition for you.
This is not like you're working. It's not like you've been working for a corporate job in the 80s for 30 years and you get the golden Rolex at the end to say, hey, slap on the back, well done, you've been with us for that long. You need to earn that win if you're out there. And that's what I'm fearful of. I'm fearful of that poor me attitude. They just don't give me the opportunity to get in the final or, to win this thing. I just want to win one of these things. I'm owed a win by now. I don't want that. I do agree she's entertaining to watch, but I feel personally like Aneesa, for me now, she's so out of her depth when it comes to the level of competition she is going up against, that I would much rather see her in a legitimate OG season or see her transition to All-Stars permanently, even though All-Stars have become something different recently, where there's a lot of younger competitors that are participating in it as well. Drew, thoughts on Aneesa? It looked like you were kind of in agreement with me. You're kind of a bit over it at this stage.
To me, if I don't think we're going to see much different than what we've seen the past few seasons. She might make it far because of her social ties, but when push comes to shove and people are going into elimination, she's going to be the one being called out, especially if she has a partner who is a rookie, and she's going to be called out for the elimination because people are scared to go up against some of the heavier hitters that are left in this game, or some of the more physically adept players that are still in this game. So I think that if she gets far on her social ties, her cues from Tori. But when push comes to shove and the game is needing to where you have to call out a friend or an acquaintance or somebody that you even like, you're going to do it to make it farther than them. And that's how I see Aneesa going. Either she's going to get, she at this point, it's either you're going to get hurt during a challenge or you're going to get called out 5th, 4th in line heading to a final, and then you're going to get called out and lose. So that's how I see it going.
Yeah. Well, let's
Who's
talk
your
about
partner?
Anissa's friend. Let's talk about her friend, Tori. There's a few people here saying that she's on this show to help Tori out a little bit here. I don't think Tori... I think Tori's in a position now with Devin. I'm assuming her and Devin are going to be ride or dies this season, but I do feel like... Chantal, do you disagree? Does she
No,
have a
I was
different
just
partner?
I thought you were gonna pull up who Aneesa's partner was, but I was just trying to think of who.
Sorry. Yeah, we can go back. We can go back straight after this to Aneesa's partner. Apologies for skipping over it. Tori is someone that did really well last season. I was very critical of Tori throughout the season, saying, she's over it. She was at a peak when she was training with Jordan, but she impressed me last season. She made it to a final. In my opinion, she ran that final better than Casey and probably deserved the win over Casey. So I felt like she was robbed because of the whack twist at the end where the slowest performers could choose who they wanted to have as a partner in the finale, and Casey chose an automatic winning ticket by choosing CT at the end. That could have been Tori if it was based on performance. I really hated that format. I'm not even the biggest Tori fan, but I am pissed off for Tori that finale went that way. How do you guys feel about Tori coming into this season? Are you excited about it? Do you think Tori can make another final? I feel like she's probably set up pretty well to do so because she's got a built-in alliance and she's probably part of that power structure that could make the game boring for us, but why would she change it up at this stage?
I mean, okay, she's on the season. I agree with you that I do feel that she was robbed last season in the final. But I don't necessarily care for what she's going to bring to the table. I haven't really enjoyed her storylines. I didn't really like when she switched to the other team last season, and then her fights that she was having with Devin when she was playing for her own team. I didn't really care for that dynamic at all. So if she brings something different, as another person, if she brings something different, I'll be interested. If her and Aneesa decide like, hey, let's do something different. Let's bring Devin and let's do something and go against these people that always go to the end and win together. Like maybe that could be something interesting. So I'm hoping right now that all the people that I'm indifferent towards work together and go against the people that are called back time and time again and are winning all the time. So that's what I'm hoping for Tori. She needs to shake it up and do something different because what she's been bringing so far, I don't care for. It's boring. But I will give her a second chance if she decides to do something different and goes against the major alliances. So,
Drew.
I actually think that Tori and Devin could be in trouble this season. I think that they could be more so on the outs than what we saw last season. When we saw Devin, he was making good into the Big Brother Alliance, but we saw him getting really cuddly with Josh. And I think Josh was the glue that helped Devin stick to the Big Brother Alliance with Fessy and Casey. Josh is not there. That buffer is out. And also, who almost won last season but didn't? And that is Tori. Casey is going to have that clocked on her mind. And also, if Devin doesn't come in with a good standings with bananas, then it's going to spell bad news for both of them. So I could see them actually being on the outs this season compared to what was going on last season, where it was everybody band together. CT is here to tell everybody to just be friends. All the vets be friends. Well, guess what? Bananas isn't going to say, let's all be friends. He's going to say, let's all be friends until I stab you in the back. And put a whole big target on your back, and then you get out of my way as I make it to the finals type of thing. So my actual thing is that I think Tori and Devin are going to be in trouble this season. And I could see them being on the outside alliance and not being able to do much past that. I think they have experience on their side, especially being in the finals last season, getting third and then getting second. But I do think that that's going to play a big factor in Nani's mind, Casey's mind. Tori was really strong. Devin got third place. Devin is always going to stir the pot when Bananas is there. And I think they're going to have to fight for their right to stay in the house if the major alliance is going to be going after them, which I would be personally excited to see them having to go in over and over and over again and rely on each other to stay in the game.
Well, I think it might be a blessing in disguise that they won't be really like easily immersed into the major alliance of the season. We know that Devin is also strategic. So if he's going to be going against Bananas, most likely, like then maybe what I'm hoping for will happen. He'll be like, we have to go against him. Let's get the people that, you know what I mean? Like, I think he could gather those numbers. And so having strategic Devin not being able to assimilate into the main alliance because of the fact that Bananas is back on the season and will probably be included in that, I think it could be good. Yes, they might be the people that Bananas will throw in. So yes, they might go in over and over again, but they might get a group together that will be willing to go up against Bananas and the other Big Brother people. So I'm hoping for entertainment factor that they are going to be up against each other, and I'm hoping that it'll pan out for the better for all of us.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say on both Devin and Tori, but let's talk about Aneesa's partner, since I sort of skipped over that rudely. So James is going to be Aneesa's partner. I don't have any real info or background on him. Drew, you might be the person who's the most prepared. I'm hoping to have some info for us on James and what to expect coming into this season.
They're best friends. That's legit all I know. There's no reality show. I didn't find anything on his past.
I've seen him in maybe her post, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen posts with him and Aneesa and Tori together on Instagram. That's as much as I know about him. So I don't know much more. I see some people saying things about James in the life that may be spoilerish. I'm not too sure. So, but we won't go into that on the show if it's not official.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you wanted to bring that up or not. So I did see something about that.
Yeah, so let's not talk about anything spoilerish, I guess, at this point, just in case people are actually listening to this and want to stay spoiler free, and we actually don't want to know too much either. It's actually getting to that point now where I think we'll have to pre-record our cast, fantasy cast.
We should maybe do an impromptu one right now.
Impromptu one right now. Let's just go for a 4-hour stream and just do a fantasy.
While we talk, I'll get the spreadsheet set up.
Now give us a week and we'll prepare and get something going, just so we can make sure we don't know more than what we should. Let's talk about someone that is coming back to back. She's just participated here in All Stars, and she's going to be back this season, and it's going to be Kayla. I know that I wasn't very high on Kayla coming into All Stars. She's been performing really well. I think pound for pound, probably the best female. Does help that she's one of the youngest contestants on that season.
She is the youngest.
She is the youngest. There we go. So Kayla coming into the season with her fiance. What do you guys think of the fact that she's coming back to back? Does that mean that she did well in the previous season and production likes her now and wants to involve her more in the show? Or is it more a case of her partner being a big character and someone they want to see on the show as well? Drew, thoughts on Kayla?
I think it's something where they had the idea of the ride or die theme in their head, and then maybe while they were filming All Stars, they were like, hey, just floating this out there. I know you put out a retirement post out there saying that you would probably not come back to the challenge anytime soon, but what if it was a ride or die and you could bring your fiance? And she was like, done deal. Give me how many zeros are on that check? I'll sign it right now, kind of thing. She made a post saying that she would not be back on the challenge because it takes too long to film. She has a fiance now / husband, and she lives in England. So now that her husband can be on the show with her, she's cool with it. Sam Bird is not a huge character by any stretch of the means. He was on Love Island UK. He was fine there. He was on X on the Beach Peak of Love, where he was fine there. And he's going to be on this show where he will be fine here. Luckily, we won't hear Kayla have to say a lot of old people jokes, hopefully. And at least Kayla is able to go against alliances, and she's not really afraid to go against the alliances.
Afraid?
Now, the last time we
She's
did,
always shaking in her boots. Are you gonna throw me down there? Sorry.
well, she would come after Cara Maria. She will have Nani helping her out there. So I do think that I have faith that Kayla can go far, even with her husband. He's been getting in shape as well. But I think that Kayla will be fine on this show. It's going to be interesting because last time we saw her was Total Madness, where her Bananas and Wes were kind of friction with each other with the whole bear situation. And now we have 2 out of the 3 Holy Trinity. So I don't know what we're calling that, the holy duo here. And so now Bananas has to play nice with Kayla. There's no teasing, there's no joking, because they're going to have to work with now. That's their numbers. I mean, Kayla's going to be Nani's number 1 outside of Casey. So
Bananas has got no self-control. He's going to tease her. Let's be honest. He's got no self-control, but he's probably going to do it in a friendly manner. Chantel, do you want to add anything to this? Like, there's a few of these where we could just. Yeah.
I'm going to say the best thing about this duo is that he has a British accent. I really like the British accent. My dad's from England, so I appreciate hearing it. And so they find that their humor is funny. And so I'm interested to see if he's going to bring a little bit of the banter into the challenge house. But other than that, I'm not really excited about the duo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad not to see Kyle on this season. I might be the only person. I'm like, oh man, I've gotten so used to having Kyle. Like, I'm just because we're talking about the UK accent, you know. It's like, oh man, Kyle. Like, we could have seen Kyle on, but yeah, I mean, he could have easily been Bananas' ride or die as well, you know. Like, I mean, but I think it's male female, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's male female, but I'm sure they could found a woman to be his partner, but maybe family obligations.
Now, let's go over to someone that, you know, I just know that when this name got dropped, Drew absolutely jumped out of his chair. He almost loves this person as much as he loves Brad. Mr. Nelly T is back for another season. Drew, thoughts?
That's not who I thought you were going to say. I'm not going to lie. That's not who I thought you were going to say, and I'm happy.
No, I wasn't going to troll. I wasn't going to troll you. I wasn't going to troll you. But Nelson, you love Nelson. Talk to us about your love for Nelson and seeing him back on our screens.
I mean, honestly, after what happened on our Challenge 38 Fantasy Cast Battle Royale, I don't think anybody was going to let me not hear when I suggested the other person that I thought you were going to say. I'm happy Nelson is back. I'm happy that he is going to be on a season with somebody that I've wanted to see on the challenge for years now. And
really?
I think that she could do really great. Yeah, she was on X on the Beach, not X on the Beach, Piccolo, but X on the Beach, MTV, US. She was on Are You the One? It's Nerese. I've heard that she's been wanting to be on the challenge for the longest time, and they just would not put her on. Nelson and Nerese kind of had a fling, dated for a while. That's why they were on X on the Beach together. And then now I guess they're in good company. So they're friends / exes. And hopefully Nerese can be his puzzle queen that he desperately needs. But we'll see how this goes. Maybe she can be his good luck too, and finally get him that daily win he's been looking for.
Oh my God, how many has he
Vendettas?
Like not since Vendettas? Wow. And how many
Vendettas.
dailies has that been? Like 60 now?
It was 54, I think, last season, at the beginning of last season. So it's been a lot. So hopefully he can win something. But like I said, without Corey, he only has Fessy, part of the Young Bucks or whatever they're calling themselves, and you can't even trust Fessy in this house. So it's going to be an uphill battle. I think his closest ally is going to be Jay, and like I mentioned earlier with Michelle and Jay, I don't know how many numbers that they can say they definitively have having their backs 100%. So hopefully Nelson and Nerese can make it far. I like them, so we'll see.
Chris is asking a question there. She's asking, will we get part 2 of the Nelly T workout plan on Tiny Table Talk this season, Drew?
I mean, Wasn't part 2 the challenge workout when Rachel kicked me and Nelson's butt in that workout video? I think you're needing a part 3. But hey, if he does another workout regime, I'll be right there with him.
Yeah. Chantel, thoughts on Nelly T having him back? We know you're very 50-50. I feel like you lean towards not liking Nelly T, to be honest, that much.
Well, the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of Nelly T is because of how he sometimes treats the women in this house and how he talks about them or to them and the fights that he gets. I don't appreciate that. But sometimes he redeems himself and then he's kind of funny or silly in his confessionals. So that's kind of why I'm always going back and forth on Nelly. I don't care for him to really get that win because he's in shape, but he doesn't exercise any other parts of himself that he would need to win this game. So if Maurice is a challenge beast and really helps him be able to get the strategic part of these challenges and maybe get a couple of daily wins and maybe get some power, like I love seeing people change and grow and my opinions about them completely change and grow. There's a lot of people that I didn't like at one point and that they were able to start doing things and they changed their personalities basically and like evolved into a new person and now I enjoy them. So I would love to have that for Nelson, but he kind of comes back in as same old. So right now he's still same old to me. I'm wondering which woman other than maybe his partner that he might get in some sort of altercation with. But if that doesn't happen and he kind of changes tune, I could be down with him. But he's just another one of the people in this game this season that I don't care that much for, but I'm willing to have an open mind that they can shift my perspective if they do something different than they always do.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I don't like some of the things that he does sometimes and how he acts around women. And sometimes he's got this charming personality with his jokes. And I've said before, he reminds me of Johnny Bravo. You guys both didn't know who that was. But just the comedy that he brings out, like I do enjoy that side of him a little bit. And, I agree with you. He needs to work on other things. If I'm going to be critical on someone like Aneesa, because she keeps complaining she can't win the show and she doesn't work on the physicality side of things, then I have to be just as critical on Nelly T for not, reading a book every now and again, completing some little puzzles online or, taking some Instagram photos with him playing chess in the park. I need to be, looking at that and saying, hey, like, Nelly, you need to be out there, doing the hard work to actually go out and win one of these shows. But I am excited still to see him on. I do think that his personality is unique and that it is something that we need. We don't just need a bunch of game bots or strategic thinkers or boring and bland personalities. So from that side, I think he's got a place in the, the season and that he will bring something different to it. I don't know much about.
He won't be there with Corey because I think that, sometimes it's better for these duos to be there on their own. So they have to form new relationships and they can't rely on the fact that they have each other. I don't know if he's going to work that well with Fessy because he's learned that Fessy is a little bit two-faced. So maybe this will be an opportunity for him to change up his game a little bit. And I'm willing to watch that. So hopefully he'll do that.
Well, we've gone an hour and 16 minutes into this podcast before we had to bring this person up here on our screen. So let's talk about Fessy, since you just name dropped him there as well, Chantel. I know you're probably jumping outside of your seat. You're so excited to see Fessy back for another season. Tell us, what do you think we can expect from Fessy this season? And, can he go from a zero to hero? Is there a road for him to change the perception of people out there about him? Or do you think that just the legacy he has, there is just no way he can't do anything to change that?
I don't know if he can. I'm curious to see how well he'll work with his partner. I don't know who she is, but she seems to be quite fit. I don't know if I want him to be like a dominant duo because I don't think that he is the best person when he's in a strong position. And I would like him to be humbled a little bit. And I would like him to, he says that he's grown and he realizes that, he was showing with Esther last season that he was appreciative of her as a partner, and he seemingly was being supportive, and that he recognized in his past season that he wasn't treating his partners that well. So I would like to see more of that, but I don't want him to be in a dynamic duo, because him with power, his ego gets too big, and I really can't stand him. So I would like to still see if that growth arc is happening, but I don't want him to be winning all the time, because I can't stand Fessy winning and being really, really proud of himself. No. So I don't love Fessy.
There's not a lot of love for Fessy here in the live chat either. Drew
You can go
talked
early.
to us about in general, but that's definitely the feedback we're getting. Drew, talk to us about Fessy.
Is he going to be your number one draft pick?
Is there?
Just tell us your strategy. Tell us your strategy.
I have a really funny
right
idea
now.
for our draft if I can get it set up before we do it. But Fessy is going to make it far because of his numbers and his intimidation in size. Basically, that's how he makes it far in every single season that he does, unless he throws squishes Josh's face, which won't happen this season. So hopefully he squishes somebody else's face and gets kicked off, or he slips on a banana peel or something in the finals, or not even make it that far. But because of his numbers, because of his social game, and because of his size and his intimidation factor, it's just inevitable he's going to make it at least the halfway point, it seems, every single season that he's on. I think the biggest question mark is his pairing, his partner, which is Mariah. She is an Instagram model, an influencer. That's all we know. She posts a lot of gym selfies at the gym. So she looks to be in shape, but is she in shape enough to run these long distances, do these very hard tasks that the challenge makes you do? It's way different. I'll be honest. It's way different when you do some of the high intensity, over and over tasks that you have to do for the challenge, instead of just like lifting weights and running on a treadmill. It's completely different. So I want to see how she is in shape, how she matches up with the other contestants, and if Fessy will get frustrated with her, because to me, there's no way this girl gets on here unless Fessy like shows a picture and gives contact information saying, I want her to be my partner. Please get her to be on the show, kind of thing. So we'll see if she can come in and play.
Turbo Fessy elimination where Fessy loses.
Well, what elimination does, like, I think anything athletic that's not a hall brawl, because to be honest, there's very few people that will be able to take Fessy on in a pure physical hall brawl. Turbo is not that tall. He's not he's stocky, but he's not that tall. I think there's only one person that can take Fessy on, but I don't know if they'll win, and that's Amber's boyfriend. I forgot his name. I think he's got the build and the physicality to take someone like Fessy on. But then again, you can't disrespect, hate the guy or love the guy. You can't disrespect the fact that he's played, American football at a certain level, and that is a sport that's all about going into contact, knowing how to go into contact to make your body move in a certain way and get over your opponent. So I do think Fessy will beat most people in a physical challenge, but if it's something athletic, like for instance, where they've got to run or they've got to do something like climb, like I think Turbo can beat him in almost, and also I think Turbo's smart. I think he can beat him in puzzles. So I think that's like the one thing, but it's like, do we see Fessy this season go into something? Because he's like, I'm hot shit, I keep winning everything, but the only thing that he wins is physical. Like, let's see you do something else that's not physical, and then see if you can win that, and then we can reassess.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the one that Emmanuel and Logan did, where they had to like jump over that thing and hit the bell and go back and forth. I want to see him do something like that, where you have to be agile and you have to be fast and you have to be strong and you have to have endurance.
Or do you remember that one that Darrell and Corey did in, I believe, Double Agents, where they had the rope and they had to run through the poles and then get to the other side and hit the opposing side?
He might be fast though.
I don't think he beats Turbo in a race. Turbo's got the bull. Like, he's got that runner physique, you know.
Speedy bone build.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's, and again, I could be wrong. Like, I mean, Fessy could surprise us in that, but I wouldn't want to see. I mean, I'll give respect to him physically. I think there's very few people this season that physically will be able to take him on. Can you drop the name of his partner again? We'll just get a picture of her up as well, Drew.
It's Mariah, Moriah. I don't know her last name. I don't have it up right now.
Okay, yeah, I got it right here. Okay, but we don't know much about her at this stage, right?
All I know is she's an Instagram model and influencer. That's all we get. That's all the context. We don't really know of any reality shows she's ever been on. So this is completely from Fessy. He either knows her or knew somebody that said that she would do it. She's fit. And maybe he was like, and I'm single. Let's do this thing. Like, maybe try to like chain her up to him and like have this like Stockholm syndrome, and maybe like, oh, well, since he's my partner.
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, knowing Fessy, he's going to want to have someone with, like you said, athletic ability partner up with him, so he's got a chance at actually winning the show. So I'm sure she's got some capabilities that we may or may not be aware of. I feel like we've gone through a lot of the main sort of players that are going to be in this season. Is there someone that I have missed that you guys really want to talk about in more depth, or should we start looking at some wider topics? For instance, one of the topics I wanted to jump into, if you guys are happy for us to proceed, is the theme itself. What do you guys think? Is there anybody else you wanted to talk about, or can we jump into some wider topics and also some questions from the live stream?
Did we get it? We got everybody, I think. Right?
We got everybody but the rookie teams.
But the rookie teams, is there anybody in the rookie teams that Drew stands out for you? Anybody that you're excited to see come in? Okay, let's have a chat about that.
Yes, the one team that I think the most capable out of the rookie teams is Olivia from Love Island season 3 and her partner Horatio. For those who don't know who Horatio is, Horatio Gutierrez, he comes from a show. Oh my gosh, I knew I was going to forget this stinking show's name. But when you watch the show, it's a mirror image of Survivor Turkey Challenges. It's like a Ninja Warrior meets like CrossFit meets you're running and swimming and doing like throwing beanbags to knock over blocks on a table, and you're going up against one-on-one with the person, and you're doing this over and over and over again. He's super fit. He does a ton of Spartan races, death races, as you can see on his shirt right here. I mean, he is fit. He is fast. And he has a good understanding or a good with all the Love Island people. Like, he's seen on Instagram hanging out with Johnny Middlebrooks, or Johnny Lee, as he's known on Instagram. So they are very well connected with each other. And to me, when I watch his highlights from his show, I think it's called Exalton on Telemundo or a similar station. It reminded me of when I looked up Turbo for the first time, and he was doing all of his Survivor Turkey challenges. I mean, it's almost like 1 for 1. So I think he's going to be the rookie who is most going to be like acclimated to the challenge and the tasks that are going to be called upon him. I think he's going to be a 1 for 1 shot in here. And I think Olivia is tall. She looks physical. She looks strong. So to me, I think out of all the rookies, I'm most excited to see what Olivia and Horatio can do. And I mean rookie pairings out of everybody. So that's who I wanted to bring up.
They're definitely going to be interesting actually to watch. I didn't know anything about him, so I'm kind of interested in maybe watching whatever this show that he was on. So you made me intrigued by Horatio. I'm not the biggest fan of Olivia personally. She does for me seem a little bit kind of fame thirsty a little bit, but if she has a good partner and if she decides to play hard and play well, she's probably a little bit irritated that all of her friends were on CBS The Challenge, and so then she got this call and she's probably like, yes, I have to get on this show because I don't want to be the only one left out of not going on the CBS Challenge. So I'm interested to see how they do, just because I've seen obviously her season and I feel like I'm going to go back and check out his season. So yes, that'll be an interesting rookie pair to look out for. Johnny's also on the season. Am I right, Drew?
Yes. Johnny Middlebrooks, Johnny Lee. And real quick, it's Exaltlon Estados Unidos. I just butchered that, but that's what the show is called. Exaltan Estados Unidos is what it's called.
United States.
You'll have to message that. You'll have to message that to me afterwards, and I'll go check it out. But yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the death race itself because that is like the peak of endurance challenges that people do, where they run for like a week on end, and they like hardly sleep. It is some serious business if he's taking part. It's not just a reality TV show sport event type of thing. This is like serious athlete stuff. So I feel like if he makes a final and if he's half decent at puzzles and things like that, he could just run circles probably around most people. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Yeah, it looks very much like Survivor Turkey, actually.
Yeah. He was doing well in it too. Like, he is one of the players that is on there constantly. It's like they go against celebrities and other players and stuff, but he used to be a college soccer player as well. Like, it's intense. I mean, yeah.
Well, what's exciting for me about seeing someone like him come into a season such as this is that he is going to go hard every single daily to win, because there is no incentive for him not to win. He doesn't have the connection. So we need more people to play hard every single episode. So I'm excited about that. So let's get into the theme of it, ride or die. Are you guys happy?
Who's Johnny's partner? Who's Johnny's partner?
Oh, Johnny, and we haven't actually had Johnny B up, so this is Johnny B for those who don't know. Pretty in shape as well. Is that right? Or you look confused?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
who's the partner? And who's the partner, Drew, for Johnny?
Raven. Her name is Raven, Ravyn. Again, sorry, I don't have like last names, but her name is Raven. She's an actress, an Instagram model, she's influencer. Stunning. She is on TikTok, and she is partnered with Johnny. Both are in great shape. She looks to have a personality. If she's in shows and actress and has a good following on TikTok, I think she has a good personality at least. And I know Johnny can be messy if left to his own devices. The only worry is that they are a rookie team, and Johnny is one of the smaller fellas inside the house, I will say. Like on his Love Island season, he was one of the shorter castmates, so I feel like he could be like looked at as, I want to go up against Johnny, even though he is very physical and he could run really fast. I think that it's going to be one of those things where if I could get him in a pole wrestle or a hall brawl, I would like to go against him, like aka Fessy. If he had his choice and saw a hall brawl, he would probably say, I want to go against the smallest guy.
Jay.
Well, if Jay was already taken out, he would say Johnny.
All right. Anybody else here from the rookies that we have not spoken about? That
I don't
you guys
know
wanna...
who else is on, who's left in the rookies. So I guess that means
I think Colleen Schneider is one of the ones that I still see. I think Schneider, Colleen. I don't know if you know anything about her, Drew, at all.
No clue.
Yeah, she was on The Mole, Germany recently, and she was the titular character of The Mole. So she did not win the series because everybody knew she was the mole by the end of the show. But maybe she can bring that sly lying with her onto the show, and maybe it'll help her get far into the season.
Do we know anything about a potential partner for her?
Yes, I believe her partner is going to be Kim Trunka or Trenka. He was on Prince Charming Germany, which is like a Bachelor type of show, except it's for gay men. And he was Prince Charming looking for his Prince Charming. And he found his Prince Charming, and they were still together by the time they filmed the finale, the first time in the show's history that the two partners stayed together up until the show's reunion show. But then when you look him up, there's a ton of cheating allegations happening with Kim. So he could be messy as well coming onto the show.
All right. I don't have a picture of him at this point. He's got really long hair. I know that.
He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous.
Ooh.
He looks like a Thor
Action
almost.
figure?
He is beautiful.
Are you sweating, Drew?
I mean, just a little bit.
Drew, you've done an amazing job. I agree with Dolores in really researching a lot of these people that we don't know and that have not been on, Western United States or, any TV shows that I've seen. So good job on that. Well done.
Thank you for helping me through here because I'm like,
there's a few people like myself and Chantel are like completely in the dark. We're lost about it. All right.
Is that it? That's everybody there, right?
Third time. Let's go to theme.
Annelise and Tommy, but we kind of know what to expect from them. I will say that the only thing I kind of wished, kind of what Chantel, I have to know where I'm pointing my hands, but I kind of wish.
Speaking of, sorry, before you say that, I don't know if you noticed, but you can actually do mirror now when you log in, and so that you won't be confused anymore. So,
really?
Yeah, it's an option now, and so now I know that this is this way and this is this way, and it's all. I don't have to be like, anyways. Just pointing that
I don't like to touch too much because I don't like to fix what isn't broken. So I'll just learn it myself and not have to screw anything up. But I will say, I wish they did what Chantel had said earlier when we talked way so long ago about Jay and Michelle. I wish they would have split them up. And I wish we would have gotten like a Nam and Michelle redo from Challenge 37 and then had Jay and Annelise together. And then we could have split up the Big Brother numbers. Maybe they would have been protected a little bit more. And Nam would have had a for sure partner that would want to stay in the game and win than what we kind of previously had. Nothing against Tommy or anything, but I just feel like I would have rather have seen Annelise and Jay, who I know are very, very close with each other. Whereas I think Annelise and Tommy have hung out with each other. They were in some of the same alliances on Big Brother. But what does that really hold? Does that really hold any water or any weight when you say I was in the same alliance as somebody on Big Brother? Everybody's in like 50,000 alliances on Big Brother. Just talk to Enzo. He was in every single alliance, and anybody could be his ride or die compared to everybody that's on this season. So I wish they would have split it up, and I think Nam would have had a much fairer chance, in my opinion, coming into this season.
And also with Tommy, I watched him play one of the minis, with Sequester minis, and he was really wishy-washy, and he wouldn't make a decision, and he was like, "Oh, like I don't know what to do. Like I can't like make it, like." Remember how Sylvia was on All Stars when she had to give someone the what you call it? Sabotage, like that kind of energy with everything, and like not wanting to make a decision. So yes, I get it that he's probably going to want to play quite social and want everybody to like him. So I don't really have that much faith that Tommy's going to make any really cutthroat strategic decisions. I think that he's just going to try to like stay as long as he can and not make as many waves as possible, as little waves as possible. Before Chris tries to start this new topic again,
I'm just gonna say for the fourth time, the truth is coming out here on this podcast. Everybody in the live stream now knows that I'm officially not the biggest Big Brother fan in this group, okay? Because I've been trying to skip, like Chris has asked me to skip over Annelise and Tommy into something else, but both Drew and Chantel keeps dragging us back to Big Brother because they love talking about Big Brother players coming into the season. The truth is out.
We got to talk about everybody now.
So my last question is, though, didn't I hear that Melissa was coming back on this season?
Yes. Early on, Melissa Reese.
Oh, yes.
She was supposedly going to be on this season, and her partner was supposed to be Brad. Was supposed to be her partner.
Brad?
Brad. Who knows why? They were on 2 seasons together, one vendettas where him and Kyle were going at each other, which means that Brad and Melissa wouldn't be paired up with each other or like each other on that season. And then on 32, Melissa was on that season for like 3 hours, and then she got kicked off. So I don't know where that would have happened. Yeah, I don't know where their relationship or ride or die would come in from, but Brad, I heard, pulled himself from the season. So he was ready to come on. They were supposed to come on. And then at the last minute, when I guess they were about to board the plane or getting ready to board that day, he just was like, I'm not doing it. So he pulled himself from the show, meaning Melissa was cut from the show. And I wonder if there's something else in the works for Brad. Maybe Maybe production called them up because kind of like what we saw with the Challenge USA and the Challenge All-Stars with Bananas dipping out of All-Stars, or some of the players from the Challenge USA can't be on the Challenge 38. Maybe there's a different challenge season. Maybe another All-Stars they're kind of like trying to gear up for at some point. And Brad's like, I would rather do that because I know I can get farther in that season than over here kind of thing. But we'll see.
All right. Fifth time. We're going to get into it. The theme, Ride or Die, guys. What do we know about it? Do you like this idea and that they're doing this right now? Like, for me personally, I'm happy that we're moving away from agents and spies and, you know, all these. I felt like the last couple of seasons have been monotonous and it was almost like one just long saga of the same season. I know that there are still some of the same players on this season, but I'm happy that they're moving on to other themes outside of the spy double agent type of thing that we've been seeing play out on our screens for quite a bit now. How do you both feel about this as we start getting into some of the closing, more wider topics about the season? Chantel, what do you think of it?
I like it. I want to try something new. Like one of the things I've been saying over and over again for the players is that I want to see some growth and something different and then do something differently. And so I'm gonna hold MTV to that standard as well. Like, okay, we've done the spies, lies, and allies, double agents. We've done those missions season after season for many, many episodes. And so let's try something different. And they didn't go back to something old. And so like we were all hoping that maybe they'd do like another Rivals or X's or whatnot. But I'm happy with them trying a new kind of little, you know, series mini franchise. And so maybe, you know, Ride or Die's season 1 is going to be pretty awesome and pretty epic. And maybe we'll see down the road a season 2. So I like that they're trying something new, something different. I want to see how it plays out. I want to see if there's going to be challenges that are going to relate to this theme. I want to see if they're going to like really use this theme in a way that we haven't seen yet before. So I'm cautiously optimistic, obviously, because MTV has been making some mistakes in my opinion with how they've been running each season. But I'm happy that they decided to put aside the missions and try something new. So I'm optimistic.
Drew?
So at first I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. One thing I will say that I'm very happy about is that they already used allies in last season's title. So it can't be, so they can't use allies and that drums up like ideas of more spy theme. Ride or Die sounds more like a motorcycle, more like an apocalypse of the Mad Max kind of thing, Ride or Die type of situation. So I hope they keep Ride or Die and they don't switch it up to something else and have to make TJ go into VO and say the new title over and over and over again. We just see the back of his head every time he has to say it. But I think it's interesting. The only worry I have is that friendship was such a huge theme last season and it really watered it down. With coming into a season like Ride or Dies, you wonder where is the drama going to be? Because at least with Rivals, when you're paired up with your rival or you're paired up with your ex, and there's that contention, there's a built-in drama that is going to happen with a lot of the pairs. And so will they work together? Will they not work together? With this, you kind of already know the pairs are going to work together. I guess it's just how are they going to get to the end type of situation. Like, is that going to be it? So my worry is, where is the inherent drama going to be coming from? Because right now I don't see any drama on the horizon, because there is some exes partnered up together, but they're Ride or Die. So they're going to have to work together. And so we know that they can work together. It's just, where is that inherent drama going to be coming
Maybe
from?
they'll have to do something like voting in their people's partners. And so like, maybe it's going to be splitting them up and how people are being determined in eliminations and stuff like that. Like maybe one side will be voting people in. I don't know. I'm not sure. Actually, I haven't really conceptualized what I'm saying here, but maybe they're going to build something into the format that is going to create some tension where it's like, what do you do in voting in my partner or my Ride or Die, or, you know, or having to vote in your Ride or Die for something. I don't know. So maybe they'll play around with the format, but I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll give it a go.
Yeah, Selena, you're right. Ride or Die is definitely something that's been used in Big Brother a lot over the years. So she's saying that it may be something that's come from the Big Brother side of things. But yeah, I'm similar to you guys, I'm a little bit worried about so many friends being on the same show again. That's why we kind of made a big thing about Amber hopefully being someone that will go against instead of complaining or whining or groveling and going back to the likes of Casey and Fessy, hopefully she goes up against that power structure. But I'm a little bit worried about that as well. Michelle and Jay, Survivor players. Jay has shown that he does not mind going against people. Like, I mean, him and Josh having a bit of a falling out not that long ago. And then Michelle, she's feisty as well. So, who knows? The only thing is Michelle's been hanging around quite a lot of the challenge players. And I think she did that for a reason, to try and politic, like that's what she does best. So maybe she will calm Jay down a little bit more than anything else, which would be not the greatest for us from an entertainment standpoint if we watch this season. But yeah, very interested in that. Now, location-wise, we're in Argentina for this one. That is also where the Challenge CBS was filmed. We know that there is a few things happening behind the scenes in regards to the Challenge Australia, the Challenge Argentina, and the UK version of the show. Do we think that we're going to see a rinse and repeat of some of the challenges that we see on CBS that they may reuse because it was in the same location? Do we think that the house may be the same? Do you think we might get, one of the things for me personally, being a Survivor fan, I've been getting pretty stale with Survivor always being in Fiji, always the same beaches. After a while, it's not, you subconsciously get a little bit worn down by having the show take place in the same location all the time. Do you guys think that's going to play a role here this season? Or the following couple of seasons?
Really unimpressed if they repeated the same challenges for MTV's season 38 with like CBS challenge. Like, I just, that would be so disappointing to me. Like, beyond, actually, I'd be more disappointed than I was at the end of All Stars 2, I think. Because
and you get TJ walking. Imagine this TJ walking in the beginning of the show. Now we've got the Challenge 38. Now, bear in mind, they have not seen the challenge.
Oh my God,
they have not seen the Challenge CBS yet, so they don't know the twists that we have ahead for them coming into the season. I'd just be like, TJ.
Oh my God, that would break.
Let's hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to put it out in the world. But I'm a little bit worried here. I'm a little bit worried.
I mean, hopefully that they were just there and they scoped some locations, and I really want it to be drastically different. I don't want there to be any. I want them to do 2 different shows, and I'm really nervous now, Chris. I didn't even think that was going to be a possibility that they just do the same show. That's stupid. So I don't want that to happen. Yeah, I'm interested to obviously to see Argentina once, but I don't know if I care to see it twice. For this type of thing. Like, I want to go to Argentina and be there for a month and hang out and learn about the culture, but I don't know for what the challenge offers if I need to see multiple seasons in Argentina.
Variety is the spice of life. But Drew, what do you think about, the possibility of seeing 6 seasons in Argentina?
So, yeah, the one thing I do want to say is that I'm fine if, say, like all the spin-offs had the same kind of competitions, because then we get to see a 1-for-1. We get to see how well each player does, and I think that's the most fair, especially at the end of all the spin-offs. The tournament will be all the winners coming together. It would be pretty devastating if one team felt like if you feel like one team had a way easier way to get to the end via the challenges, at least. I mean, maybe they come in with better numbers, but if it comes in with the challenges, then I think that one team would feel just completely off compared to the other teams that may have had it a little bit more difficult. But when it comes to the Challenge 38, I want that completely separate. Fine, exactly. We're all in Argentina, but the Challenge 38 has to be completely different than what we're seeing with the Challenge USA, because we're going to be seeing the Challenge USA in the summer. Is probably going to be going for maybe 13 episodes, so 3 to 4 months. And then we're going to get right into close in proximity after it wraps up. We're going to get to the Challenge 38. So I do not need to see a lather, rinse, repeat with all the challenges from one season to go directly into the next one. And then we're seeing the same exact challenges. Like, you're not helping your audience enjoy the show. You're just, whoever is the most loyal or is willing to take a leap of faith in different products that you're putting out, you're hindering or punishing them now having to watch double duty of the same, just new faces doing it. So I hope it's completely different.
Yeah. Jelly Donuts here saying, I think it may be a shorter season, thank God, because gamers said that there's no redemption house and there's only 16 pairs. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is a shorter season because that I know that they're starting to sniff around. The Australian cast members are starting to get lined up. So I've got a feeling that the Challenge Australia will be filmed either as the Challenge 38 is being filmed or in very quick succession. So I would not be surprised if it's going to be a shorter production timeline. And also, I think that's why they're doing this season in Argentina, so that if they have to cross over and TJ has to run between the two seasons, he can do it just for location purposes. But I am a little bit worried about that. I also wanted to talk about, we've talked about everybody that has been on this cast so far and who we've seen. Who's the biggest omission? And let's not talk about CT because we know CT didn't want to come on the show this time, but people who we think would have actually potentially participated this season and they didn't get a call or they're not a part of the season. Do you guys have any ideas as to who you think would have been the biggest omission? In my opinion, I think it's Kyle. I've gotten so used to seeing Kyle season in and season out, and I love his humor. I think he brings something different to the show that I'm going to miss this season, not having him on the show. I was not a Kyle fan from day one, for obvious reasons. But he grew on me as time went on. He grew on me more and more, and I really do feel like I'm gonna miss him this time around. Chantel,
Yeah,
who do you think is a
Kyle and Melissa would have been a good duo. I think someone was even mentioning
Yeah.
that in the chat, and I was like, that would have been super fun. You got more accents in there, which I'm interested in for sure. And obviously, I like Kyle's antics, so it would have been nice to see him on again. So I agree with that. Also, the chat was mentioning it, but I was also agreeing with that. Is Amanda would have been a great partner to have with Nelson. I know that you're interested in seeing Norris there, Drew, but Nelson having Amanda as a partner, like they've been friends since their season of Are You the One? I wouldn't have minded seeing them working together maybe this season. And I've been enjoying Amanda for the most part since she's come back. So it would have been nice to see her on this season and with a partner like Nelson, see if they could do a little bit better. She'd have the brains part of it. She knows him really well. She's not going to back down. She's willing to go up against the power groups, and so I think she could have probably brought some good opposition to the game, and it could have been helpful for Nelly to be playing more strategically. So yeah, those are kind of the couple of people that I wouldn't have mind seeing, and surprised that didn't make the cut.
Drew, any from your side?
So somebody that I was shocked to not see was Tony, since it felt like everybody was alluding to the fact Tony was possibly going to be on the show this season. I mean, Bananas and TJ were on Bananas podcast being like, oh, check your watches. It's almost that time. It's almost that time. So I wonder if Tony was in talks and then pulled out, or just was never really in the talks and they were just trying to stir up some like names going into there. So I think Corey Lay was somebody that I was surprised. He is somebody that I think really wanted to be on this season. He had a partner and then it got cut, and then he got to go to Argentina as an alternative and then as an alternate, and then he was dropped and was sent back home with Josh and the two winners of Love Island Africa, those were the four alternates, and they were flown back to their homes. And then there was one more person. Kels and Priscilla was supposedly a duo that I would have loved to have seen on this season without a doubt. I loved Kels. Yeah. I loved Priscilla from last season. Coming into this season, paired up together, I think they would have been lethal duo, but they were not allowed to compete. I heard Priscilla wasn't able to actually be on the show, and so they had to drop Kels along with her.
Well, speaking of dropping people, do you know what the tea is between why Michaela dropped out, and then because Coriel was then really pissed at Michaela and they followed each other and had a little bit of a spat on Instagram. So do you know any more details?
So I know why Michaela did not do the challenge. She put out an Instagram live or a video going over the reasons why. She said that she wanted to take some time off. She needed to, she didn't want to put herself back into that environment. She also started a new job, and she got a signing bonus for that job. So starting that new job, it wasn't guaranteed that she was going to get that job when she came back. So she was like, I don't want to do that. I want to secure what I have here. And then maybe next time, like Challenge 39 or Challenge 40, if they ask me, I'll be ready to go. Yes, her and Coriel was supposed to be paired up together. Because she dropped out, Coriel said that wasn't the reason why he unfollowed her. He just said that there's for some people in your life, sometimes you just gotta cut people out for different reasons, but it wasn't because she dropped out of the season. That's what he said on Twitter. If that's opposite, he is keeping that to himself, but there are some reasons why he decided to unfollow, or they unfollowed each other. But Michaela said that she did not want to put herself back in that environment after what happened last season, and that she got a new job. So totally respect that. And she didn't say no. She said that it's a no right now, but that doesn't mean a no in the future, which makes me excited to see her back on the challenge at some point in the future. Maybe a rival season with her and Coriel. Let's do it. Let's have another rival season, everybody. Let's do this.
I'll buy into that one too.
All right, as we closing off here, a couple of comments. Sandy is saying, wait, TJ is also the host for the international versions. From what I'm hearing, he will be hosting all of them. That's what I've heard. So even the Argentinian version. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So yeah, so unless it changes, so far it looks like that's how it's going to be.
He's making money this year. Holy!
I can tell you guys that the production team for the challenge, the main show, is also the same team that is behind the Challenge Australia, the Challenge UK, and Argentina. So as long as that main team and the main casting department is involved, I think that comes with TJ. I don't know in the future if that means that they'll expand and look to build a local presence in some of these international locations, but at this stage they probably didn't have the time, because I think that we've spoken about it many a times. They dropped it on us so quickly, it seemed a bit rushed. They didn't have time to go and look for hosts, get the right production teams involved in different countries, so they're kind of just at this stage doing it all their own, probably bringing in some local talent, but I think it's heavily the main casting department, main production team, the host, and everybody is involved. Natalie is also asking if any of us are, worried about Ashley not being on, or do we miss Ashley? Is she a big omission for this season? I don't know. I feel like Ashley, there was some things that happened last season. I don't know if she's allowed to be back on at this point.
Yeah, MTV is doing what MTV does best, not letting us understand what went on. So I just assume that she's never going to be back on the show. That was my thought.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it's like a soft ban kind of deal with Ashley. Like, I'm sure we'll see her back on the show. It's just this season not going to happen. Maybe not even 39, but around 40. If they have something big like a champion season or an OG new school type of season, I think they would bring her back on because she is a champion, a two-time champion. But I think right now, because of what happened last season, or at least what I've heard from what happened last season, allegedly, that is probably a soft ban, and she'll be back on at some point. I mean, if everybody was saying Turbo was banned for life, guess what? A lifetime has happened because he is back on this season of the channel.
Yeah. Same with Jay. So
same with Jay. True. People said he was never going to be back on, and he's back the season after. So yeah, I think we'll see Ashley back.
Anderson. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't get the whole Natalie Anderson scenario and why she's not back on. Like, she's not banned, right? She left for legitimate reasons.
Well, she left for legitimate reasons, but she also had some unfavorable tweets come out, like where she called someone ratchet, even though it was during the time where that word was really in urban culture. So I think that people were kind of, I don't know. Wow. I think she might have gotten part of this being racist brush, and I don't think it was really fair, but it could be a soft ban though, like Jay. But it came out at around the same time as when Jay's statements came out, or song came out.
Yeah. I feel like in today's life, like if you could create an app that works like Grammarly, have you guys ever heard of Grammarly before? Like, it's like Grammarly, a little app you install. Yeah. So you install it. It makes sure that you're actually, your grammar is correct and everything is appropriate. So you should have like this little app that you put on your social media to like check your words before you put it out and say, this is problematic. Don't use that term. Don't do this. And then it just like completely makes sure that everything you put out there is okay. Because I do feel like we've gotten into a position now where sometimes, like, and I'm not defending Natalie, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what was said, but I feel like we've just sometimes go too far with like taking things very personal now, and people get cancelled so easily. Like, it's so difficult in any case. I mean, we're not going to fix it on this podcast here, but I feel like either they need a good publicist or a good person that's handling their social media accounts, or something needs to happen so that we don't lose good competitors such as Natalie. Like, I want to see her back on the show competing because I thought she was a great addition the first time she played. I thought it's just because she doesn't want to play at this point that we haven't seen her back, because I remember seeing Instagram Live between her and Michelle where she said she wouldn't go back. She said unless they made sure to make the $1 million, one person wins it all, she doesn't want to come back. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought it was her own not wanting to come back. That's why she doesn't want to play it. So anyways, and she didn't have, there was a few things she said that wasn't favorable about production on that as well. So we know there's other Survivor players that have, Tyson recently come out with similar types of things. So in any case, I think that we did an extremely good job here, guys. We reached 2 hours of talking about a season that is yet to air, but it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody that has been here from minute 1 with us, as we just ramble on about cast, who do we like to see, any thoughts that we have initially about this season. It's been great having you guys here as always. Chantel, where can people find you? What do you have coming up over the next week?
I'm still easy breezy. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Been doing watch parties with Sarah from Nerdtainment over on her Twitch channel, the Sarah Atwood, where we're watching Big Brother Australia. It's been an enjoyable season to watch together, and it's nice watching a season just like enjoying it without like furiously taking notes and having an opinion. So that's something that I've been doing with her. On Wednesdays, I do my own watch party for the Challenge All Stars, and then we go live usually in the evening at either 8 or 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about the season. And then on Thursdays at noon, going live to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I really think that that's all on the docket right now. So, and then with you guys, obviously Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's it for now. But as I keep on saying, things are ramping up. I think something starts this week. Something starts tomorrow. I think Love Island UK starts tomorrow. So that might start up. So keep an eye out for some more content from me.
Yeah, dating shows is where you guys lose me. It just goes completely over my head. Drew, what do you have coming up on your channel, and where can people find you?
I just want to throw this out there. You were like saying that we talked for 2 hours. I mean, was that like a question? I mean, I'm surprised we didn't go 2.5 hours. I think we were at 40 minutes when we got through.
I had more to say.
We had 4 teams done, and we had 40 minutes in. I was like, oh, we're strapping in. This is going to be 3.5 hours. Let's do this thing.
What is our
so
record, by the way? I feel like
only 2 hours.
I feel like our record is
The
like
Battle Royale.
2 hours. Yeah, but what was the...
No,
326, I think it was.
The Battle Royale was like almost 3 hours. I think it was like, it was close to that. Because we're gonna
smash that one of these
5
days.
hours. 2 back to back. We did a combined like 5 hours, 5.5 hours. One on Friday.
Yeah, so let's plug that for people who are new to this channel and that are listening to this right now. If you want to go check out some great content on Drew's channel, on the Angel Cake Entertainment channel, where we all defend popular and unpopular opinions and we have a bit of a debate about things. If you want to see us go back and forth for 3 hours plus, go check that out. I think that was a lot of fun when we did that back in the day. I feel like at some point we're gonna beat that. It's gonna come. I feel like
the fantasy draft beat that. One of them was 326, I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember that number at one point.
Wow.
You remember
it was incredible. And plugging that fantasy cast battle royale for 38, I think we nailed it. We nailed a couple of it. Even some of the competitors that were supposed to be on this season and got dropped, I think we got put on that cast. So just throwing that out there. I'm on my channel, Angel Cake Entertainment, every single day of the week, pretty much. I mean, I'm putting out content 6 to 7 days a week up until All Stars ends, and then I'm going to pull back drastically, and I'll have 3 to 4 videos a week, including what I'm doing over on Patreon for extra content over there at patreon.com/angelcakevid. So I'm having a great time putting out a ton of content on the challenge and Challenge All Stars, right now, but I feel like the sweet spot is going to be 3 to 4 videos coming July, when the Challenge USA starts and the Challenge All-Stars 3 ends. And then I'll be able to do a lot more bigger content like the Cara Maria Evolution video and some extra spicier content that is very much like the Challenge Inferno 3 video that I put out there. So I'm in talks with a lot of collabs, and I'm looking into trying to get some interviews on the channel as well. But that can't happen until I'm not doing 6 to 7 videos a week. So just go over to Angel Cake Entertainment, and there will be a new video up by the time you look at it.
All right. Here on the Nullified Take channel, we have got a special off-season podcast happening for Survivor. We're doing Survivor themes. All about Survivor themes. It's going to be a general discussion about the themes we like, dislike, think that should be added to Survivor. Who knows? A few of the challenge themes, I might even steal a couple, like Rivals. I've always wanted to see a Survivor Rivals before. And we're going to be talking about that with Russell Muscle TV, who's also got a YouTube channel covering a lot of great content for Survivor. So I'm really looking forward to that. Survivor South Africa's cast has just been dropped for its first returnee season. And Richard, who's here in the live chat with us, he will be one of my co-hosts for that. I'm really excited to have both Richard and Zoe from the Hangout Room as my co-hosts for this season. And also, I'm going to continue to drop a lot more challenge content with both Drew and Chantel each week. We're back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday evenings. We've got a fantasy cast that we did, a draft pick cast that will drop for the Challenge CBS as soon as the cast is official. We've already got that one in the bank, so that will drop as soon as that comes up. And I've got a feeling there will be a lot more content to do for the challenge over the next couple of weeks. So we'll be very busy. Strap in. And once again, guys, everybody that's subscribed to the TNT channel, thank you so much. We're nearly at 750 subscribers. I think 743 or something subscribers when I came into this. So that's another really big goal for me. If we hit 750, I'll do a giveaway, and we'll give away 5 of these caps to a few people that are listening to the live streams. So what I'll do is I'll do a live giveaway similar to what I did for the Survivor Buff giveaway, as a thank you to everybody that is a part of this community. I really appreciate it. That's it. And we'll see you guys next week when we talk about the All-Stars episode 6. Thank you so much for being here. Catch you guys next time. Good night. Bye.